Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. All right, the short stream is back up. Onesie. Crypto-powered cities. Techno-colonization. Yep. It's literally just like techno bros paying for the government to fulfill their dumb crypto dreams. Their final make-a-wish. Alright, what about this, bro? What do y'all know about this? Here's the filtering process here. There you go. No, chill. Alright, there you go. Perfect. Chill, don't make me, I don't know about Twitter Premium. Who did that to me? Oh, God, bro.
Well, it's absolutely heartbreaking and it's devastating, but even more so because it's so preventable. As President Trump said today, over the last 4 years, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and air traffic control under Joe Biden have been dedicated to a mission not of public safety, not of safe aviation.
Joe Biden had 0 incidents like this during his presidency, okay? And also, Donald Trump had DEI during his presidency, okay? DEI did not make flying less safe, all right? It made it more safe.
But diversity.
They say DEI because they know people get mad about it, because people are emotional. And if you are someone who gets emotional about this topic, stop being a little baby, okay? Stop being a little kid. Grow up. Have a brain of your own, all right? Have a brain of your own. Chill. And this is why it's Trump's fault, because we need to say it's Trump's fault because he actually did policies to weaken our air controllers. He did policies to weaken our FAA. He did policies to weaken our TSA. He wants to privatize all of it. So yeah, it's Trump's fault. Trump made this worse, and Trump is still having a hiring freeze for air traffic controllers. He is still gutting these agencies, still has them frozen. He is still paying federal workers to quit. Trump is doing this, and if anything else happens, it's Trump's fault as well. Especially after Donald Trump lied his ass off today.
Equity and inclusion. And they've pushed an agenda trying to advance social engineering, political ideology, trying to hire people.
Social engineering and political ideology. Meanwhile, you want to ban racism. You want to ban talking about racism in all of the federal government. You can get kicked out of your job. You can get fired for talking about DEI. That is social engineering. That's taking away free speech.
People at the FAA who are not capable or competent for the job, and that completely changes the agency culture. It means instead of spending 4 years trying to solve
again, it makes no sense. If you believe this, you are insulting yourself. You look dumb, okay? Don't look dumb. There's no reason to look dumb. All right? You look dumb, emotional, you look like a baby. DEI does not cause anyone to get hired who's not qualified. The only thing that does do that is legacy admissions and wealth and connections. DEI shows no difference in the quality of someone that you hire.
Systemic problems, all these near misses, instead.
And by the way, the civil rights movement, MLK, I was muted. The civil rights movement, MLK, that was DEI too. So if you're against DEI now, you probably would have been against you would have been against MLK. You would have been against the civil rights movement. You would have been against it. You would have been in the streets protesting against MLK if you're anti-DEI today. To that extent.
All that intellectual capital at the agency is spent trying to meet these programs and trying to fulfill these quotas. And it prevents the agency.
Wait, what did he just say?
Problems, all these near misses. Instead, all that intellectual
all these near misses. All that intellectual capital at the agencies. What do you think this takes? Does it really hurt your not puny brain? Does it really hurt your gigantic tumor brain to think about other races that bad? I mean, it probably does. He looks like Goebbels, just like reincarnate. But
it's spent trying to meet these programs and trying to fulfill these quotas, and it prevents the agency from developing the system.
It's like, damn, bro, thinking about black people stresses you out that much? Shit, what's wrong with you?
Closing the weaknesses and establishing the protocols to prevent a tragedy from like this from occurring. And it's why President Trump, on just his second day in office.
Yeah, bro, you're right, Epoch. He's like, that's too many near misses, bro. We had to really hit it. We had to get an actual crash, bro. Biden had near misses. We had to actually get it done.
Issued an order to re-implement his previous standards and then to declare that all DEI is ending and the agency shall put competence.
Oh yeah, also the standards did not change since 2013. So like Obama, Trump, Biden, and Trump again, the standards have been the same for hiring. So when they say the standard changed, that never happened. Like
quality and qualification above all other considerations, and that will be the rule going forward. But again, we've seen over 1,000 near misses in just the last year under the Biden administration, and we have jeopardized public security in a way that is unthinkable and tragic, Sean.
Yes, public security, bro. It's all about the public security, bro. Oh, I love this one too.
Sir.
This one's cool.
Sir.
The best part is, okay, so the best part whenever they the best part whenever they bring out an executive order for Trump, he never knows what it is because he's like senile and can barely even like breathe. But he's always confused and surprised when he receives it.
Sir, thank you.
Listen to them talk.
We have a presidential memorandum titled Immediate Assessment of Aviation Safety. In light of the damage done to aviation safety by the Biden administration.
Bro, it's going to be year 3. Year 3 of the presidency. Biden did this, bro. DEI did this.
DEI and woke policies.
DEI and woke policies. Imagine saying that in a serious voice and being a grown man, bro. Due to the Biden administration, DEI and the woke policies.
What this presidential memorandum orders is for your Secretary of Transportation and FAA administrator, in this case, acting FAA administrator, to basically ensure that we are actively undoing all of that damage, that we are assessing how much damage was done.
He already signed the executive orders to get rid of DEI 9 days ago. And he said DEI was killed 9 days ago. What happened, Trump? Did DEI dodge? Did DEI survive somehow? I thought you got rid of DEI. Why do you need a memorandum, which is like fake, basically? A White House memorandum or an executive memorandum is not even an executive action. It's just like a guidance. Just like, hey, here's a letter. Do this or something like this.
And that we're ensuring that people hired within...
It's entirely DEI fault, proper negligence and incompetence due to lowering standards. See, you are actually living in a different reality. You are living in a different reality. I hope you get the help you need, sir. Liberal men are all weasels, weak ultra betas. You know, strong men don't call other men weak ultra betas. They usually show some type of, you know, independence, discipline, anything. They don't go on YouTube shorts and leave dumb comments. By the way, drop a like on the stream, hit subscribe. Okay, drop a like on the stream for the algorithm. We have 8 likes, 266 viewers, okay? If we get 20 likes, I'll take calls. We have 9 likes. 20 likes, I'll take calls. We got to get the algorithm going, though, because I don't have anyone that wants to call yet. So I'll take calls if we get people calling. You know what they say? I don't know what they say.
In the FAA, in keeping with your memorandum of January 21st, are only the most outstanding, capable people for the jobs that they're being hired.
And yeah, the outstanding, capable people cannot be black, right? So like, we just assume if there's a black person working, they were hired from DEI, and they cannot be the most capable. That's what this means, by the way. That's what this means. They can shield it, but that's what this means.
In other words, competence.
Yes, sir. Elevating competence.
Bro, he's so stupid, bro. Does this keep your mom up? No, I put her to sleep a little bit ago, bro. She's good. She's sleeping. She snored a little bit. She's comfy though. Let's see. Put your mom to sleep, brother.
Republicans who will choose. We've got to have a handful of Republicans who will choose nation over party, who will choose the people over some partisan advantage.
It's not partisan. It's capital. Okay, it's money. It's the big money, dollar bill, y'all. It's the cream. Get that money.
Will understand that they.
It's the money. It's not about partisanship, bro.
Call. To accept, press
God damn
1.
it.
To send a voicemail.
Oh shit. Hello.
Get that money, dollar bill, y'all.
Are you a fan of Wu-Tang?
Okay, so this is the first time I've called in somewhere.
Welcome. Mute the stream too, because I can hear that echo a little bit.
Okay, then let me do that. All right. Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, I was just calling in. Shoot, now I'm just getting in the car driving, so on my talking points. I was listening since you were talking to the Tom Foolery, I think.
Yeah, that's a YouTuber I've known for a while.
Cool. Yeah, so I think the question's like, why does Trump, what is it? He hates it, prove you wrong.
Yeah. I can start with my basic reasons why I think that. If you want?
Yeah, let me put it to my headphones because it'll probably sound better for both of us.
All right, I'll give you.
I have it on speakerphone.
All right, you're good. Who's Jonah, chat? Jonah. Your autocorrect's making you spell my name wrong, chat. It's not Jonah. It's Ebola.
Oh, perfect. That's fine. I'm driving. I don't want to fall.
Well, honestly, your phone was 20 times better. Not gonna lie.
Oh, is it?
Wait, try again. Try talking again.
Is that better or the phone by itself?
It's the same. You're good though.
So, anyways, back when. Oh no, go ahead. You do your thing because I have the talking points, but I'll just let you.
So, some things Trump has said, for example, he called John Kelly a 4-star general, a gold star father whose son died in Afghanistan. He called him weak and pathetic because John Kelly, a lifelong Republican, called Trump a fascist. And in the same sentence, he called Vladimir Putin a very tough and strong man. He says on multiple occasions, he loves how in China they roll their people with an iron fist. He loves that. He wishes that people had to stand up and clap in America like they do in China. He wishes we had to stand up and clap for him. He likes military parades, which is pretty un-American. To do straight up military parades with tanks and stuff in the streets. That's a thing that communist China did, and they're pretty. That's the most well-known thing. Yeah.
I was a tank mechanic in the Army.
Interesting.
Yeah, you wouldn't want those rolling down the street.
Yeah, he really wanted to do military parades for a while, which is something that usually authoritarian countries do for a show of force. But we have that big thing in America where we have that the division between the military and the citizenry, and also just using the military not for show, and not using it just as props for a parade to flex muscles or whatever. You have the flights that'll go over football games and stuff, and that's a really skillful thing. But in general, military parades usually aren't that American. A couple other statements just in general. Jailing people who burn the American flag is really anti-First Amendment. He wants to deport people who say they are pro Palestine or defending Palestine or Palestinian rights. He said he wants to put people in jail for the Supreme Court for saying the Supreme Court is bad. He has said many times using the U.S. military against his political opponents. He has floated that during his administration too. But just overall, I think I haven't really ever heard him talk about America in a passionate way. So there's nothing that makes me think that he loves America, and I think a lot of people agree that he just like his main thing is he loves him, he loves Trump, and he loves everything to do with Trump. But yeah, I just don't see where he'd like love America.
Yeah, I mean the idea of him doing a lot of those things that you mentioned. I'm driving, so I can't really verify, so I'm not able to look at anything. I've seen him hug the flag, and I'm going off of this assumption, just an assumption. I don't know for sure, but whether he likes the people or like, so him being a person who owns properties, he needs people to pay rent, right?
A little bit.
Well, no, I mean, you don't maintain the value of the building if they're not paying the rent.
I just say that because he doesn't really own many of the buildings he has. A lot of it is a branding deal to use his name. A lot of his golf courses are too. So I mean, hypothetically, when he did real estate, sure.
Well, yeah, I'm just meaning the idea that, like, him as a business person, he needs those bills paid. So if you look at just kind of the pyramid down from people sitting, up that high, whatever we want to call it high, but I'm just meaning monetarily, they have a large of, whatever they call a portfolio of assets. And so as it trickles down, I mean, I'm not really like the idea that, that the money that's spent on things, I don't know. I remember the first time I ever heard anything about the government was, oh yeah, get yourself a government job. It's easy, right? And I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I know people that have worked in the government, military. I made $895 a month back in '98. That's what I was getting paid. And it's 24 hours a day. So whatever that hourly comes down to, it's not very much. But I signed up, and that's what I did. And you also sign up to take vaccinations and all these things because you got to prevent, transmission because you have a lot of people in one little area.
Yeah.
So the cost of things also, I've heard of like $1,200 toilet seats or silly things like that. I don't know how true they are, obviously, but I do know there's kind of waste in the government. I don't know that it was a good idea to have dude name it after a coin. And then also, to be honest, him dropping a coin, in the midst of Coffeezilla. I mean, I don't know. Not a lot of people, are. I think you were saying that Andrew is terminally online or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you probably are. I am for sure. And we do have more information than most people. Most people are getting little dribbles from articles, right? And so I see your view, and I see the other view to an extent. And you mentioned the parades, which there's no way that we would want 72-ton, 150,000-pound vehicles. That's one. And they get, it's not miles per gallon. It's not. It's three gallons per mile is what they get.
It's not about efficiency. I think it's like it's about someone who shows a lot of dedication towards their power and wanting to have ultimate power. And he's never shown that he would pass power up or that he would say no to power. He lies a lot about things that politicians don't typically lie about. Like he goes past where typical politicians go, even just about like claiming the crash was about DEI and other conspiracies.
Oh, yeah, that's a little premature. And then that's the thing. What I've noticed about the right is they do like that he's out front with stuff. But I have people I talk to, attorneys, that are pretty smart, and they talk a lot about how it looks, the perception. And, I want to say, like, no, we need to hear everything. but at the same time, it is a little much, especially with living with
Well, the outcomes
flow
are
of
bad
information.
too. Like the Project 2025, he's following that to a T. And the entire goal is to eliminate the federal government completely. And I'm very against that. They want to get rid of like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That's their
Well,
ultimate goal.
that's what he said today, and I know that just because he says stuff doesn't mean it's going to happen. But he was saying something about what was it? Said he just promises not to touch the old people. Basically,
See,
'cause
that's
you know how he does silly things like his antics in Puerto Rico.
yeah.
So here's my take on that. So this guy is shooting it like a basketball in Puerto Rico, and I'm looking at it like, well, why does he? How can he enjoy himself during this tragedy, right?
Because it doesn't affect them.
Well, yeah, certainly he has the, I don't know if we call it ability or inability, but the chance that he doesn't really care, like, and it's pretty obvious, and there's no.
I think he's a sociopath.
Well, yeah, he's got enough money that.
But
I'm
also,
sure.
he did try cutting every single budget he did cut Social Security and Medicare. But it got rooted out last second. So he tried cutting Social Security and Medicare with every budget as president. He's going to try again. He just lied about that. He lied about saving Obamacare. He wanted to get rid of Obamacare. John McCain saved it. He just lied about that completely. He lied about the FEMA response in North Carolina. He said Biden never called anyone, and Biden called everyone on the first day. Even Republican governors said that he was lying about that. He lied about the California wildfires on day one, just made up conspiracy theories or theories, just like dumb theories about it. Yeah, just in general, there's a lot of things we can go through. It's hard to pinpoint one topic, but just in general, he's a man that exudes like insecurity. He's a man that exudes like he has to say, my hands are actually pretty big. My hands are actually huge. I'm actually attractive. Like he just exudes insecurity, and even when he answers questions to the media, he does not answer a hard question. He typically insults someone, and then he answers a question that he wants to. I just think he looks like a very weak individual, and I just don't think he's a good role model for the country. And I feel like people just vote for him because he's able to make the other side. Like he's really good at villainizing people. So like the ad spending this election cycle, Trump did not spend $1 on a positive ad for himself on like TV or anything. But they're really good at making other people seem terrible to the point where even if there's issues with Trump, you're like, well, the other side's insane. I need to vote for Trump. So he's really good at doing that. From like a very like he sent flyers out, for example, about Social Security to voters that I know in a swing state, and those flyers said Kamala Harris wants to give Social Security to illegal aliens, tax it, and cut it. Trump wants to expand it. Those flyers came from the Trump campaign, and that's like the opposite of the truth, because Kamala wanted to raise the cap on taxing the rich to pay for more Social Security expansion to make it solvent for 50 years. Trump wants to cut it. So like when he lies that blatantly about something like that, it makes me question like what else is that guy going to lie about,
Yeah, I mean those are pretty. I would have to look at all of that to even make like a comment on that.
Yeah, for sure. And these don't need to be. That's the thing with my show. Like we don't need to have debates. Like we could just literally just talk through what we think. And I give items because I'm a policy guy. And someone called in earlier who works on like aviation. So he said he's a pilot. I'm guessing military something. He said he didn't want to say too much about it, but he said he worked with the Black Hawk. Like he like drove one or flew one once or whatever called, piloted one. But he said that he knew that Trump's statement today was bullshit because he has experience in aviation. And I know he's bullshit with a lot of policy things because I'm pretty well trained and established in policy work. So when I give examples like that, it's not to own people. And if people come in with like an attitude, I do that, obviously, like internet people do. But I do give a list of policies. Like I'll give you a list of policies. I'll be like, Google these. And then we'll talk another time. Like Google these, just ask questions about these. Why did he do this? And this is why I see this as a bad thing, if you know what I mean.
I think, like for me, I'm kind of, I would be considered probably on the right, but I'm more in the middle, and things have shifted. But in other ways, I'm on the left. I don't really, when you're in the military, you get conflicting things back then it was way different. People were far more conservative in the military back then, or the voices just were louder. I'm not sure. So I'm from Southern California, and my dad was a Southerner. I don't know if you know what that means, but here, when people go to prison, they get into certain situations where you're kind of pigeonholed into groups. And so I grew up on the streets, and this is where I don't like certain things and policies and stuff like that I've seen the waste personally, because he was addicted to heroin, like a lot of them that's what ends up happening, is they get addicted to heroin. And I'm talking he was a gangster back in the like 60s, not recently. This is like late 50s, 60s, and 70s. He was locked up with this stuff. I avoided it, but I was listening to rap music, and I didn't know he didn't like that, because inside they're at war. So I watched him and my mom collect welfare and never even pay the second month's rent. They would just get the checks until they kicked us out. And so I watched a lot of money go down the tube, and he would be working, driving the truck, making $500 a week. This is like in the 80s, 85 to like 90 is kind of what I'm referencing, that time frame. And that's a lot of money, because it was like $1,500 a month my mom would get, and they wouldn't come and check to make sure I was there, because I lived with my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a trip for me I'm like, okay, it probably helped us anyways, because we would have food. I remember on the first of the month, we would get a lot of food. We'd be eating McDonald's, and it was just the greatest time. I get money to go to the arcade. Yeah. And then I would not eat for like on the 5th and 6th, there'd be no food. So I would just go back to my grandma's. So I was just blessed to have grandma to go back to. Like, for me, that's
a big deal too. I would just say, like, for people receiving like benefits or whatever, or welfare or anything like that, like the vast majority goes to great places. And even the money that would drain out of the system, that's not waste I would care about getting rid of, because the administrative costs of fixing that would probably cost more than just allowing people just to abuse the system, like a very small percentage. So when I look at money that's flowing out of the system, I think about tax loopholes. I think about giving $15 billion contracts to Elon Musk for his space company from our tax dollars. I think about like most of the money with us in Ukraine is loans, but I think about just handing money to billionaires and tax cuts. I think about that kind of thing.
You should talk with the flat earthers. They don't even believe in space. Like, they would get that if you could get them to convince this administration that, hey, so yeah, there's no space, they'd be like, oh yeah, sure, let's just cut. Yeah, sorry, Elon. Dude, that would be crazy, because I would assume he's kind of funding his car business right now with those space launching. Like,
well, he funds it too from Elon's very wrapped up with the Chinese Communist Party, and I feel like Donald Trump's moves globally, and this is a different conversation, but him tariffing Taiwan is freaking insane. There's no logical reason for doing that. Tariffing Canada, tariffing Mexico, tariffing our best trade partners, like literally our top 3 trade partners that we need right now strategically. Going after Greenland, Denmark, going after Panama, going after all these countries. Leaving the WHO and a bunch of other organizations, and just ceding ground to China. And whenever we like leave a country or do a trade war, China comes right in like, hey guys, the US is not going to support you. Guess what? We have all the funding you need. So China's getting more soft power influence around the world right now because of what Trump's doing, especially with Taiwan. Like, tariffing Taiwan is freaking insane. I don't know what logical person would do that. That is literally a policy that I thought would only happen if China literally was like, if China became our president, they would do that policy. I don't know why he's tariffing Taiwan. Like, it's insane. It's
yeah, I mean, I think it's more of because if he doesn't tariff them, then other countries have hey, why are you guys not? Why you tariff? What's up? Why you can't tariff them or us and not them? Why aren't you? So that would be a political thing, because his whole thing is the art of the deal. So everything is like a posture. Like the way he sits,
Well, everything is
the
a
way he
posture, but
holds
Taiwan specifically, like we need them for chips. We need them. We don't have the materials in the U.S. to make those or the factories yet.
Well, and
So
we
like,
have we get a lot of stuff. Like the company I work for, they get their stuff from. It's a company in Taiwan. They make, the Taiwan people. They make the stuff. They manufacture it in China, but their like headquarters is in Taiwan. And
well, China wants Taiwan. They've talked about
Oh,
invading
yeah,
multiple times and everything. But my question is like, why
I mean-
tariff Taiwan? There's no strategic reason to do that, because we already have incentives in place for them to produce, more in the U.S. I don't know.
I think he just thinks money is leaking somewhere.
It just doesn't make sense
you
though. Like
turn the
trade deficits
faucet-
don't like they don't mean what they like. He
Well,
thinks
no,
we're
the
subsidizing
company I
Canada.
work for is not sorry. The company I work for is not happy about it because right now they can't make decisions until the water settles. So I mean, it's kind of cool because like right now I'm going over to the left and I'm not listening to anything in the middle. Well, yeah, you're more in the middle, to be honest with you. I don't, just because you don't like subscribe to the right, I don't feel that makes you like extremely left.
Well, I'm
right?
like,
So-
it makes sense that I think presentation matters a lot because I'm not a socialist, but I'm definitely like pro trans rights. Like anyone above 18 should be able to get gender affirming surgery. I think that like gender pronouns should be respected. And I think
see,
like
on
if
the
a
right,
kid
there
is trans, then that's fine.
They're on the, just so you know, from what I can understand, so the reason I know Andrew, it's The Crucible is a show. Andrew,
Wills? So, wait.
how do you?
What's the
what'd you
show
say?
called? What's the show called?
The Crucible. Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson. Okay, I might be debating him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did hear. Yeah, that's right. I heard you say his name. But anyways, I heard him from listening to whatever podcast he goes on there, and I found the whatever podcast because I came across. So I heard about Press and Fit a lot, but I don't really listen to them. They're a little. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
But I heard about Andrew when that prisoner dude, Wes Watson, was on the show with Fresh and Fit or on a panel, and Andrew Wilson was right there. And then he like approached him and told him that he was like, oh, he said all this crazy. It's kind of like that guy was saying what you guys were saying about or I don't know if you were saying it or one of the sorts was saying that the chin and being masculine, all that stuff right there. And this dude's like a prisoner, super buff, sells programs for like $40,000 a program or something to have call-ins or to call people and motivate them. And he went up to Andrew Wilson, and Andrew Wilson's like, "You usually attack armed men in Florida or whatever like that." And so then I went and listened to. I think maybe I listened to him before whatever. But anyways, I saw whatever. I wanted to see what they were doing. I kind of got the gist of it. And then I listened to Andrew debate people because they get out of control. And sometimes I just want to hear people yelling at each other.
Yeah, well, that's their strategy, though. The right-wing strategy is to make people upset emotionally because they say things that are kind of damaging for communities that they don't understand, and it's intentional rage baiting to make them look good. And I want to end on a topic then, if you have a final thing to talk about.
Now, if you have something, I wrote a bunch of stuff down, but we kind of covered all of it. Commander-in-Chief for the declassified documents. Oh, yeah. When he said declassified documents, I don't have I mean, it's whatever. I don't really care. But these ones, the executive orders for the MLK stuff, these are not in his possession. So they were the argument they have is that anything in his possession he can claim is not, classified. Yeah, I don't know. Bernie should be way richer if he's working with pharmaceutical companies. I don't know if you watched all of that today.
Well, RFK said Bernie's working with pharmaceutical companies, which is insane.
Yeah, that was. I mean, if he is, he's taking a really small cut.
He's not. He's the most anti-pharmaceutical company person in American history. And it's just like if RFK lies about that, what else does he lie about? You know, because we know
Yeah,
Bernie's
and
like
I
that
mean
person.
that's why I. One of the reasons I used to listen to Joe was just because he had crazy stuff on. But when he said he liked Bernie, I looked into Bernie and I was like, okay. I don't think it's possible in this country to have someone like him end up winning, but it would be pretty cool to have free healthcare.
Yeah, well, I think yeah, hope to see you around my channel. I think you'll like the content we do here.
Well, yeah,
I
no,
call
I've
myself
listened
like
to you for a minute.
I call myself a constitutional progressive too. So I think that's a good little label that kind of fits where I am right now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
I hope to see you around
Constitution needs
moving
to
forward
be
too.
more defined. Yes, have a good one. Take care.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, call in another time. Join our Discord if you're on Discord too, by the way. We have a lot of great
Yeah,
discussions
I'll
in
try to
Discord.
get into that. I've always thought about it, but I've never downloaded. Or is it like an app, or you got to go
Yeah,
online?
so
Right?
it's like different messaging servers. We have like text chats and also voice chats, but you could participate in either. We have like different ideologies and roles you could pick in the server, and people are talking in there almost 24/7. Under any of my video descriptions, you could find the Discord link under my video descriptions. And join our community. There's a lot of, and we have a lot of ideological diversity, so people are debating all the time. So it's a great environment.
Oh no, yeah, I've heard
We
it.
have good
That's
mods.
why I called in. Hey, take care, man.
All right, thank you. I'll go.
You too.
We're just vibing tonight, brother. Playing poker.
I
From
mean,
my
the
understanding, it
point
wasn't
is
because they agreed with it. It was
Boo.
because of
we're
like a
constitutional originalists, right? So like we're in the original Bill of Rights. Does it
Your
say
voices are on
like,
the
oh
stream, by
it's
the way, just so you know.
oh no, fine, I'll
you're
stop
on
talking
stream.
about that thing I was talking about.
Yeah, I'm on stream right now.
Where in the original Bill of Rights does it say like, by the way, guys, in 90 or so years, you're gonna want to abolish slavery?
I mean, it definitely laid the framework in the Constitution to be able to even abolish slavery.
Well, the Magna Carta like laid the framework to be able to abolish slavery. That's not very helpful. The sentiment is not explicitly present anywhere in the founding fathers' intention for the country. I thought you were a textualist and an originalist.
So you're going under the false assumption that the founding fathers were like pro-slavery or something.
No,
Like,
I'm just going under the true assumption that nowhere in the Bill of Rights did they make it explicit or clear that slavery was bad and against the ideals of the founding of the nation. They did a lot of revolutionary stuff, but the whole slavery, human rights abuse thing, it's oddly not mentioned anywhere. Why do you think that? Again, like Jefferson was like, guys, we need to make a 14th. Like, I don't care about 11 through 13. Like, we just after the 10th, we got to skip to the 14th one, and then everybody else was like, nah, you're being a beta. We'll wait. Like, where did the anti-slavery rhetoric go? Why wasn't it included in the Constitution originally?
I would have to read up on the history of this again, to be honest with you. I think it had something to do with the three-fifths compromise. That like again that the many of the
Yeah.
founding fathers were completely against.
Well, many. When you say many, do you mean most, or do you mean like some?
I mean, when you think of like the founding fathers, like people like Adam Smith, Thomas Jefferson, um, I'm trying to think of the rest of their names.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think that it's cherry picking.
Well,
I think it is.
does the Bill of Rights ever like specify which race is entitled to those rights?
So I'm a contextualist, right? I'm not an originalist, so I'm immune to these types of issues, right? I can say at the time, no, it didn't, because it was around the time of the 3/5 compromise when we agreed, like, a black person's like a little bit more than half of a person. So at the time, no, they didn't specify it because it was common sense that black people were less than white people legally. And that changed because people became more progressive and more moral. And then we updated the Constitution in accordance with those changes. And that was a good change. It was an anti originalist change, and it was a good change. Can you believe it? Those two words in the same sentence?
So, I mean, in even in the Declaration of Independence, it states all men are created equal, right? Like
Whoa.
it doesn't
I've heard that before.
and abolitionists
What if a particular
during the
type of
time of the
human being?
Constitution.
What if a particular type of human being is being tacitly excluded from the definition of men in that
Well, they
statement?
weren't. The like I'm saying to you, like the people who
Just
drafted
40% of them.
documents like the Declaration of Independence did not exclude anybody from the definition of men,
So
right?
what I'm
Like,
gonna do is I'm gonna say, given the commonplace legal understanding of what counted as a person deserving of full equal human rights, unless they explicitly included races other than white people, I'm gonna assume that what they meant was what was in accordance with the common notion at the time. It's up to you to explain why they would exclude any mention of racial justice, but still somehow expect people to understand that they were advocating for racial justice.
well,
That's
they
not my
wrote
burden.
they wrote about abolition. Like, it wasn't like a secret that many of the founding fathers, like Adam Smith and Thomas Jefferson,
You're
were
really taking a
pro-abolition.
you're making a lot of you're taking big strides with this word many. When you say many, do you mean the majority of?
Let me look.
The answer is no, but take your time.
The answer is no.
Yeah,
Was
you're
it
making
Thomas?
fun of me.
Was it Thomas Jefferson that had many
Yeah, he freed 2 out of his 6 slave children. What a fucking progressive. I'm sorry for cursing. I forgot stream.
You can curse.
I can?
Can you?
That's great. I don't know. It's your stream, Jola.
Ooh, that's tough.
I'm in a
Good
mood
point.
right now.
That's tough.
I'm in a mood. I spent a lot of the day talking to Reds. Reds Acres is a based fellow, and he's it's very easy to disagree and be chill about it and have both people say things that come off as sensible to each other. But I don't know. He's the only real libertarian, so what can I expect?
Me?
Reds Acres. You've lost
You're
your
more of a
status.
neoliberal.
Oh,
Closet lib wrestling.
got
Yeah,
him.
Reds. I mean, he just confused me with what he was saying, because he was talking about like how he was praising the Canadian healthcare system and stuff like that. But I talked with him in it.
Don't distract Raceland. He's trying to figure out how many of the founding fathers owned slaves.
most of them?
Yeah,
So
I've heard.
It's yes, there were many that owned slaves, but
Most.
they were.
I'm ethically vegan. I just can't afford it. I can't afford the lifestyle.
If you had to pick, Rosalind, would you choose to only have government or to only have private industry? If you had to choose one.
Ooh, obviously, private industry.
Well, that's definitely slavery,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
Pure capitalism can do no wrong.
Only
If you just-
government is also slavery, so.
well, not if
If
you can
you
maintain
just-
a system where you have a vote in it and there's no other like outside influences that will corrupt the democracy.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
not
but
real.
that's also the case with private industry. If you can maintain competition with throughout the private industry will eventually.
Yeah, competition where we all hold hands in kumbaya and realize that in the long run, slavery might not be as productive
yeah,
as
but
educating the workforce.
if it's just the government, you all have a shared stake in the same system. The reason why only private industries does not work is because that inherently turns into feudal wars. Like you're fighting other kingdoms constantly. But if you're all under one government, you still have some type of shared stake in that system that you vote on. You vote on disagreements in a democracy, in a government. If it's all government, you cannot do that in a system that is only private dominated, because that'd be a bunch of just like feudal empires, or like Amazon and Google having wars against each other and shit.
Or collabing with each other to extract as much surplus value
Kill the
out of
other
their employees as possible. I'm not going to kill you. Stop asking me.
Like, how does that social contract get set in that society that has only private industries?
They
Like, how do I
sign
decide social
it.
contract?
The
No,
shareholders sign it.
And then the power.
The owners
Kit,
sign it.
I don't know if you're listening, Kit, but I'm doing what you told me to do.
You could only have
Not
maybe you have
listening.
no owners. Like a government, you could have no owners.
Owners.
'Cause owners are different
Yeah. Well,
from
the
shareholders.
real
or
owners,
or
the
like,
real owners, we're not allowed to talk about the Federal Reserve, of course.
Oh crap!
How many founding fathers were there? How long?
But we had multiple founding fathers. Who's our founding mothers?
Oh, we didn't believe in
I thought
those.
it was
It says
just George Washington.
all men are created equal. Remember?
Some are more equal than others.
George Orr. I love George Orr.
Yeah, that's communism. Some are more equal than others. Capitalism is some are less equal than others.
Got him.
So did you guys hear about someone suggesting to put Trump's face on Mount Rushmore?
Wait, what happened to anti-slavery in the Bill of Rights? All right, fine. We'll pick that up later. That sucks, man. Who is Trump gonna replace? Lincoln?
No, I think they're gonna make him like right beside Lincoln, I think is the plan.
In gold.
But like bigger than the rest of the other presidents.
Great.
I don't think he's gonna be president long enough to have that enacted. That'd just be
Low key,
ridiculous.
he's not making 4 years. I put money on it. He's not making 4. I put any
Did
money,
you guys
honestly.
see Dave Rubin promise that if Biden made it through 4 years in office, he would quit?
Well,
Dave Rubin promised that.
I make a point not to watch him.
Well, yeah, me neither. But hey, what a surprise! Dave Rubin, not a man of integrity.
Favorite
Who would've
founding
thought?
father is Alex Smith. Or wait,
Are any of those
Dave
podcasters
Smith,
a man of
sorry.
integrity?
Tim
Tim Pool and all them.
Tim Pool is the most. He has so much integrity that he has so much of a backbone that his backbone grew. It continued ossifying past puberty. It just grew through his head out the top of his skull, and it caused him to have to wear that beanie all the time.
That would explain it.
Yes, it would. Oh, I'm just in
If we're gonna
disruptive.
argue like, sorry DJ, the only reason I'm like not is because if we're gonna argue like the historical stuff, I have to be prepared with like.
That's all good. I'm just
So
busting your
I'm
balls.
looking into it. I am currently looking into it, and we can continue the conversation at some point. But I have looked
Sure.
into it before. I don't remember all of the exact details, so.
I know Washington was down with slaves. I know Jefferson was down with slaves. I think John Adams was like, yeah.
Washington was not.
He spoke with the slave's mouth. That's talk about a Frantz Fanon book. Talk about
There
black
was-
faces, white masks.
There was many founding fathers, like at least it looks like 25, like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and Washington, that did own slaves, but opposed it because it violated like the theory of natural law that they subscribed to.
Again, this is the
That's
type of pussyfooting characteristic of like, yeah, I would be a vegan, but it's like expensive and complicated to buy Beyond Meat, and I don't want to become a woman because of the soy. Like, it's just not. It doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
One
I would like
interesting
the
reason.
non-aggression principle, but what if they killed me first, bro? I had to kill them first.
True.
One reason I wanted to bring up is that additionally, I believe it was George Washington that routinely moved his slaves around from state to state because if they stayed in a certain state for too long, they would have to be emancipated. So it's kind of
That's a
a not
terrible
good
conga
look.
line.
And then
I mean,
what
I think sometimes you can separate out what like the fruits from the actual person, right? Like I said, the outlining of the Constitution was what allowed us to make the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment as well. So
It's almost like we can reinterpret the Constitution as social views change
well,
and values evolve over time.
the
Oh, we
the
gotta call
issue with
Samuel Alito. We gotta tell him about this.
it's not that it, it's not that the Constitution, like there was disagreements, like from what I'm reading, at least 50% of the founding fathers opposed slavery. So
Hey, I got a hot take. Did you know that the Electoral College is DEI for slave owners?
Yeah, yeah, and less educated people. That's not very markety.
I'd agree. I don't know what you're. I mean, I don't have to like abide perfectly by the founding fathers, even if like
What?
they were all, even if they were all fucking
You're
pro
telling me.
slavery. I
You're
don't have to
telling
abide
me.
by the founding fathers because they like it doesn't matter what they think. It's the libertarian
Whoa.
principles
You're
that
telling
guide my
me you're not
rationale.
even a constitutional libertarian? You're telling me the Constitution doesn't mean anything to you now?
I am saying that the Constitution and the way it was outlined makes for a very good document preserving rights. So
Well, except when you want to modify them because what they say doesn't matter. That's a quote. I'm gonna reuse that. I wish I had a soundbite of that. Joel, are you streaming? Can we get a soundbite of that?
Yeah, you can go back and watch the VOD and get the screen cap for
Thanks.
yourself.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it myself. And then I'll use it. I'll upload it to one of the "that was easy" buttons. And then anytime Raceland makes an appeal to constitutionalism, I'll just, "that was easy."
Remember when Ben Shapiro said that God
well, I don't think I've
put
ever supported like constitutionalism in the way that you're saying it. I have supported constitutionalism in saying that the judges that are like generally even the contextualists and the like originalists for sure, they interpret the Constitution in a way that preserves rights. That's all I've said about that.
Who's
Like I don't.
your, just out of curiosity, completely unrelated question, who's your favorite and least favorite Supreme Court justice sitting right now?
I don't really have one, honestly.
Okay. If you had to remove Samuel Alito or Ketanji Brown Jackson from the Supreme Court, would you just flip a coin, or do you think you would lean one way or another?
guns.
I don't. Is Katanji? What is her? Is she a contextualist, originalist? Like, what is?
She's a progressive, so probably not a originalist.
I mean,
believe
the
she's
answer
a
is pretty clear.
progressive
Okay.
originalist.
You
That's
you would
all right.
definitely you would not go for her because of guns. Yeah, 100%.
That's all
I
right.
already know.
No, it's fine. It's okay. It's not. Yeah, you don't have an opinion. It's not.
No, but like
Constitution's
he does have an opinion though. Like he would put
I
the
know,
Second Amendment
and
above
it's
that. But
fine.
yeah,
And he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to articulate
can you
that
not work off
opinion.
that though? Because if
It's
you know he would
fine.
pick the ones that's like no, but what was the point of your question? Because you know he's gonna pick the pro 2A one.
Well, the point of my question was that he made a claim that he's not a strict originalist to defend the reinterpretation of the Constitution to be anti-slavery. And I'm challenging the idea that he's not being selective about that he is being selectively originalist when it comes to things like gun rights, but that he's
Well,
fine with contextualism and reinterpretation when it comes to things like the Equal Protection Clause.
yes, yeah, exactly. Because that
Yeah.
because I don't derive my system of governance that is preferable to me from the Constitution. I derive it from libertarian ethics.
Okay. So yeah. So like the next time somebody is talking to you about gun rights, we're not going to make an appeal to the Constitution, right?
Well, I only really do if they make the appeal to the Constitution. Like,
Okay.
I would say that gun rights are more revolving around property rights,
Okay.
defense, and
And when we defend
so
property rights, we're also not referring to life, liberty, and property.
no,
Okay.
not specifically. Just because they came to like similar conclusions that are in adherence to libertarian ethics doesn't mean that like
Okay.
you have to. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what's so confusing about that. Like,
I'm not confused. I'm learning. I'm learning about you.
I mean, you like we had a whole conversation about this, like with argumentation ethics, where I derive property rights from.
I mean, that conversation, like, so the argumentation ethics thing hinges on a more fundamental argument that we had, I think, pretty clearly at the least went unresolved. If we're being favorable in our interpretation, to me, I think it's like I presented some serious problems for the foundational beliefs that underline your adherence to argumentation ethics that we didn't come to a satisfying answer or agreement about.
No, we haven't, because of differences in
Right.
in philosophical determinations of things, I guess.
In basic intuitions, yeah. And if your argument for property rights is premised on something that requires a broad consensus and in basic intuition, it's not, yeah, there's a certain amount of scrutiny that it's going to hold up against, but eventually it's just going to come down to like, yeah, not everyone thinks that engaging in argument necessitates the idea of bodily ownership. But it's fine.
It's like the same idea when you say like logic doesn't exist, right? Like
When
you
did
have
I
to
say
use
logic
logic to
doesn't
come.
exist?
No, I'm comparing it. Like when you say like something like argumentation doesn't necessitate bodily bodily autonomy.
Well,
Like you're saying it's the
again,
same thing as saying logic doesn't exist. You have to use logic to come to that
you're
conclusion.
falling back on the surface level assumption that I was questioning that we came to an impasse on. If you can't resolve
Yeah.
that impasse in favor of your intuition, explain why that's the more preferable path to take, then it's not the whole premise that you just assumed to be true has a hole in it.
Because you can definitely fall to a level of absurdity, like for
It
sure.
wasn't.
Like
It
if
wasn't. It wasn't absurd. I tried. I took you. I took you
I'm not
down with me.
specifically talking about you, but
We went to strawberry fields forever. Nothing was real. No Beatles. So yeah, but it was this. It's this serious disagreement about intuition, where it's not. Yeah, it's not immediately clear that the basic premise is self-evident in the way that something like logic would be. Logic. So like the reason why logic doesn't come down to this absurd battle of intuitions is because you actually have to use logic to engage in thought.
do you, or is it just a predetermined mechanism that, and you're not actually engaging in logic, you're just following this predeterminism?
We went over how something being deterministic in nature doesn't make it incompatible with it following a logical or deliberate pattern of thought.
Neither does argumentation.
That's my point. Yeah, our argumentation requires agency 1. It doesn't require agency 2. Your distinction of a brainwashed
Why is
person from
logic?
a non-brainwashed person relies on argumentation requiring agency 2. Which we agreed it doesn't, or you kind of started to agree that it doesn't, and then you went
We didn't
back.
agree that it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. So again, it's like, yeah, the basic premise at the foundation of these libertarian ethics, which again isn't found in the Constitution, is questionable.
I will say, like, just because I derived argumentation, like I can say the logical proof for libertarian ethics would be argumentation ethics, but I don't have to derive libertarian ethics from that logical proof. Like I can make utilitarian arguments for libertarianism.
Yeah.
I can make
Yeah. But then you have to do that. And the thing is, if you don't do that, then it's not done. And you haven't done that, so it's not done.
That's why they
So
put
it's
people
not.
in
So
the
it's
rights
like,
because they can't
yeah, if I
self-advocate.
argued differently than how I argued and I made a better point, then I would be right, is like what you're saying.
Man, imagine
No,
a
that's
Christian
not
needing
what
to
I'm
defend the Bible
saying.
without quoting the Bible. That'd be so hard for them.
Man, oh, it sucks. Something about the
just listen to the
unmoved
book.
mover.
God said so, bro.
I love the Christian bumper stickers that says, "Hey, libtards, the only reason I don't kill you is because of the Bible."
Based. I want one of those.
Yeah, that shows you as a good
People
moral
need help.
person.
You know, if you have that bumper sticker and you actually feel that way, you need help. If God's the only thing keeping you from killing people, talk to someone.
100%. 100%.
Well, it must, because if your conscience is keeping you from killing people, then that must also be God, because your moral conscience is essentially a connection with God, because God is the divine and the essence of the good. So in order to believe in good moral things, it has to be God doing that. So in a sense, God is the only thing keeping you from doing anything bad.
I don't know. I'm not religious at all, and I think I am a bit more moral and, adhere more to like beliefs of Jesus than a lot of the people that claim to be Christian and just throw out.
That's because you have a secret connection with God that you just aren't aware of.
Right.
Or you actually do believe in God and you're lying to everyone in order to make them turn away from God.
Yeah.
I want God all to myself.
Yeah.
He's my dad.
Oh.
What was that noise?
Somebody left.
I guess Blurry wasn't down for the conversation.
Oh, well, you know what? That's really interesting. I had a sudden change of heart, and I'm now going to be much more jovial and happy to be here.
Oh, he was gonna be gone anyway. By the way.
Yeah, well, even if he was here, he was going to be gone.
That's a good name though.
It
The
is. It's
Discord name.
nice. Yeah. I wish I was more creative like
Do you
that.
think I want to hear your opinion, DJ.
Wait,
Do you think that
what's a good name?
blurry?
Oh.
I'll hear your opinion, TJ. Do you think that like ideologies, whether religious or like political, that rely on, you know, the text says this, therefore it self-justifies, do you think those ideologies are going to be inherently weaker, not only because people that choose those ideologies choose it because it seems easier to justify in their head, so it's not as hard for them to argue, but also because they don't have to test it much?
When you say weaker, do you mean rhetorically weaker?
No, like in the like fundamentally, people that typically believe in like conservatism don't really have as many grounded principles that they go off of once they're out of that realm with it. Like if you burn the Constitution today and you burn the Bible today, they'd have no moral or ethical framework to really work off of to make a new one, or at least there's gonna be a weaker typically than someone who's gonna be more
There would be
contentious
bedlam,
or like
actual bedlam.
Yeah, so I think that I'm trying not to glaze a man who's been caught up in some controversy recently.
Oh,
but there's a difference between starting from very foundational, very broadly agreeable basic claims like people deserve to live and do what makes them happy as long as it's not at the expense of others' happiness. And starting from those and then taking a long, complicated path towards your more tertiary pragmatic beliefs, there's going to be more work to be done in untangling and picking at those beliefs than if you go direct, like from Bible to prescription. So I would say, yeah, it's harder to. There's more complexity to like a secular belief system, but in a sense, like that's because there's almost more mental gymnastics to work out a secular belief system.
You see the graph
Like
of
you
people
said.
that like they have the conservatives are more likely to only be within themselves and their own social groupings, and if their brains are not cannot easily access secular principles or see things outside themselves, the universe, contextualize themselves in like really huge like narratives or whatever.
Yeah.
They only see themselves in their own immediate circle. They're going to be more likely to be conservative because they, you know, not only do they live in areas that are probably more or less diverse, and this can change too. It's not essential according to their genes or according to their brains or whatever. But
I don't know.
It could change based on where they live as well. It can, and we see this. We see environment mattering a lot for that, for racial attitudes and things like that. But
early on exposure to different types of people requires you to develop a more complex view of people and the world.
Your brain's developing too.
Your thought process is naturally gonna have more open. It's gonna be higher on the Big Five openness scale than conservatives will be, because it's like you said, it's a lot easier because it's a lot more streamlined with a lot of conservative belief systems.
God said so. Leviticus.
God said so. Now there are people like, I don't know. There are people who do that that high complexity thinking and arrive at a sort of conservative space, but it's annoying and cringe and gay.
Oh my god, not Elon sharing the fucking. Oh my god, I hate it, dude. Fuck. The Biden administration's terrible DEI hiring practices. It's like, bro, there. God.
I'm removing myself from all that.
Yeah, don't even look at it. It's not worth it.
I'm done with the news. I'm just gonna talk about the founding fathers.
A 24-hour challenge where they don't blame everything on Biden.
On DEI.
Just a 24-hour challenge.
spent 24 hours without mentioning race or gender, please, Republicans. Don't mention race or gender. Big challenge, I know.
Oh, bye, Raceland. Oh no, I didn't get a chance to apologize to him before he left.
Oh, Raceland and Kit left.
Now I got to apologize to him for being a meanie.
How are you
Yeah,
mean?
it's okay. Raceland can take it.
Hmm.
Raceland's
That's
a
not
big boy.
nice.
Oh God.
Damn it, but I want to say this.
Raceland's a big boy. He can take it.
Okay. All right, chat. We're going to bed, chat.
Good night, chat.
Thank you for hanging out.
Are you actually going to bed, or are you going to be chatting with us for 3
finishing
hours?
this 2K
Don't
game.
reveal.
No, he's gonna spend another 20 minutes saying goodbye to chat first.
Hey,
Aw.
I'm building parasocialism.
You're making fun of him is what you're doing, guys, and it's not good for him. He's already so beaten down with what's been going on, and you guys are just...
Someone's gonna say something to rage bait him, and he's gonna have to respond.
Yeah.
No, I'm done for today. Like when the one guy I was talking to earlier, I don't know if anyone was there, but we were talking about the helicopter stuff and the plane, and he realizes he's completely full of shit, and then he's just like, but what about the immigration under Biden? And I just like did not answer. I just like I could not even say a word. I was so disappointed. Like he just like pivoted the conversation. He ended up hanging up because I'm like I just did not talk. I just can't. I'm out of it for tonight. I got to recharge my battery. I can't stream tomorrow night though, so I had to stream tonight. I didn't
Why
want to
can't
stream
you...
tonight.
What are
I'll be
you,
busy.
Oh. I get it.
Yeah.
That was a lie. I don't know. I don't get it.
But like, how do I even respond to people, dude? It's so tiring.
I know.
It's like kids. They need to be
needed
punished.
a post-work nap. I completely missed the entire first hour of stream.
Sleeping. I feel like it was like a
I
kid
missed-
touching a hot stove.
I missed most of it listening to an anarcho-capitalist telling how child labor should be legal. So that was cool.
Yeah, no, I saw 9on in here, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna avoid that.
My favorite
I
bit
will never
was
recover.
when Kit asked him what he thinks the age of consent should be.
Yeah.
He thinks it should be worked out in the market. I'm pretty sure that's what his answer is.
The market value will determine what the age of consent should
You're
be.
being mean.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
mean.
I am being. You're right. It's just.
I was mean to 9on, and it was okay.
Yeah, it was mean of me. I'm sorry.
No, I'm chill with it.
Age of consent. Somebody in chat was talking, in live chat was talking about like the whole trans thing, and like people's brains don't finish developing until they're 25, and so you shouldn't make changes until you're 25 and can really
not a person
decide. And I was just like,
25.
well, if that's your excuse, then we should just raise the drinking age to 25.
You should be able to abort till 25
Like,
then, if you're not really developed until 25.
If you're so
That
worried
means
about
I'm still at
people-
risk.
Yep, me
Oh
too.
my goodness.
I could self-abort, right? I mean, anyone could self-abort for real.
No. See, this is
What?
what happens when you make fun of him.
All right, good night, chat. Good night, chat.
Listen.
Good night, chat. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for listening to us ramble. If you're still here, you have a good night. I need a new poll. Yeah, I'll get a new poll.
Vegas, go ask someone if you're confused on what a woman is, bro. We're not.
Here's the Discord. I
I'm
should start bringing that up in
confused.
debates.
I'm giving
hella
specific
confused.
shout outs to Goodnight Jordan, Goodnight Sterlo.
Good night, chat.
I don't know these people. I don't go in that godforsaken place.
The horizontal stream's fun, though.
Jordan is going to personally fund Jola's new live stream setup.
Jordan's going crazy. I like Jordan.
Somebody told me to talk to Teague. Was it one of you or
No,
was it Kit?
don't talk to Teague.
No,
He's a
that's
guy.
gonna be that's gonna be a great conversation.
So it might have been you, Kyle. So I did.
I know I definitely didn't, but
Okay.
how did it go?
It was for like 30 seconds. I think it was either Kit or maybe Nag or maybe Reds, but one of them said like your sense of humor seems very similar to Teague's. And so I went in there guns blazing with the hyper sarcasm. And he didn't seem as receptive to it as I was hoping, but he seemed okay. He seemed like
You
an okay guy.
you guys both have the very dry wit, but
Mm.
with Teague
Thank you, Kate.
will say
Thank you, Cam.
something that's very like misogynistic or racist or like something that really pushes the lines, but he'll say
Yes.
it completely dry and then say that he's joking. Like that is
I remember this. I remember the whoever else I was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Kit, but I remember, yeah, this other
Yeah.
person I was talking to telling me that it's like it's different. And I made a comment about how I care about tact and
Yeah, yeah.
self inhibition.
Cam said you
So
shouldn't
you
be allowed
guys
to do anything
both
till you're 60.
have that really dry
Thank you,
wit and that dry sense of humor,
Thank you, Agolf.
but
Have a good night, guys.
you have empathy.
Good night, guys. Good night. Good night, guys. 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 Good night. 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 Good night, chat. Howard Dean. Howard Dean for president. Let's go. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Is that the guy who went like, yeah, and then he
He ruined
Yeah.
his career, bro.
Yeah.
That was a scandal, bro. That was